The European Commission has confirmed this. Belgian police entered the buildings of the European Union's diplomatic service and the College of Europe in Bruges. This is part of an investigation into fraud in EU institutions.
Confirmed that the police was today at the AS buildings, and this is part of the ongoing investigation of the activities that took place before in the previous mandate. And there is nothing more we can provide you with because there is now an ongoing investigation happening.
3 people have been detained. One of them is Federica Mogherini, former head of EU diplomacy and currently rector of the aforementioned College of Europe. All of them have been released, but they face imprisonment for fraud, corruption, conflict of interest, and breach of state secrecy. There are serious suspicions that during the tender procedure for the program, Article 169 of the Financial Regulation on Fair Competition was violated, and that confidential information about the ongoing tender procedure was disclosed to one of the candidates participating in the tender. This concerns irregularities in the tender for a 9-month training program for young diplomats from European Union countries in 2021 to 2022. The tender was won by the College of Europe, headed by Federica Mogherini as rector.
And there is an ongoing investigation, and once and if more can be disclosed, we will be doing so.
Federica Mogherini served as High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy and Vice President of the European Commission from 2014 to 2019. During this time, she worked closely with the President of the European Council at the time, Donald Tusk. Observing the European Union for some time now, we have been learning about corruption-prone events, and all this shows that it is not an organization that is immune to such activities. It does not draw any conclusions from successive scandals. On the contrary, one might even believe that some politicians are under a protective umbrella and continue to commit these crimes. According to the newspaper Le Soir, among those arrested is also Italian Stefano Sannino, former Secretary General of the European External Action Service. European institutions seem to be completely out of the control of member states, right? They do what they want, and there are some very disturbing things going on there. We had the first signs in the European Parliament. We remember those scandals related to contacts with lobbyists. There is no effective supervision there, and unfortunately, we are learning about new episodes of this spectacle in the following months. Because this is not the first criminal scandal in the European Union in recent times. 3 years ago, also in December, the police knocked on the door of Eva Kaili, the vice president of the European Parliament at the time, among others. For the European Parliament, an institution that presents itself as the guardian of the rule of law and likes to criticize others, this is a heavy blow. The prosecutor's office charged her with corruption, participation in a criminal group, and money laundering. She was officially arrested. Among the evidence secured by the police was 600,000 euros found in one of the houses searched in connection with the case. This does not bode well for the future of the European Union, which will probably have to face enormous organizational problems. And in fact, this could lead to its collapse. Italians are also concerned about the condition and future of the European Union. They have demanded the return of nearly 2,500 tons of gold, worth over $300 billion, including the following sentence in next year's budget. Gold reserves managed and stored by the Bank of Italy belong to the Italian people. However, the European Central Bank warns that decisions on foreign exchange reserves and gold in the Eurozone countries belong to the Euro system. In other words, a sovereign state cannot decide on its own gold without the consent of EU institutions. The problem with the European Union, but also with the European courts, is that they usurp powers not granted to them under the treaties. European countries also resisted this in referendums. The problem is that all these solutions, which have not been accepted by the European demos, are being introduced through the back door. after Poland's entry into the Eurozone, announced by the December 13th coalition. Polish reserves, over 500 tons worth about 100 billion zloty, would also come under the control of the Euro system. And there is something to fight for, because in recent years, Poland has climbed to the 12th place among the world's richest countries in terms of gold reserves. However, as long as the nation has the Polish zloty, the gold belongs to Poland.